So we'll get started in just a moment. Just allow yourselves to get settled in and relax into the space. Thanks for being here this morning. Thanks for coming in. And thanks for being here online today. As we get started with the practice this morning, let's give ourselves just a bit of a pause. We'll allow our body and our mind to begin to come more in sync. As we get up and start our day or just move through our day in general, it's so rare that we get to stop and kind of let our mind catch up and our body catch up together. So we'll just spend this few moments focusing on the breath, just feeling what the breath is doing as our mind and our body settle into the place where we are. I'll invite the bell and we can have a few breaths together. And when we breathe together, we'll breathe in through our nose to the bottom of our belly. Slow, gentle, and calm breath. And as we breathe out, we'll breathe out entirely, allowing the body to completely release. And after a few breaths, we'll move into just having some silent space to explore what it is that we are carrying with us today and what those quieter voices are bringing to us. Let's invite the bell. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and letting go. Breathing in and release. continue in your own rhythm, and as you breathe, you may notice there are places of tension or feelings of coming up against blockages or walls. Either physically in your body you may feel that, or you may come up to emotions that feel very strong or stubborn. So in the next few moments, as we just relax into our breath and begin to confront those places within our bodies, make small adjustments as needed to open yourself to breathing easy. I always find a bit of wonder, a bit of, a moment of wow. When I take that time to have those few breaths and really start to get into the practice of following my breath all the way in and feeling that energy move through my body. And when I come up to those stuck places, as I sit with those places, I almost picture myself kind of, it's like coming to, if you ever walk through the forest, you might come to a creek that's just maybe a little too large to just step over. And you have to stop for a moment and look down, and you find the right rocks or like the stones that are in the creek or the dry spots, and you're able to maneuver your way stepping to keep from stepping into the water. And that's how it feels sometimes when I come up to these things. Like I feel like I'm moving in my path, and then there's an obstruction. There's something that I have to pay attention to. And I'm always amazed as I spend that time to sort of see where I can go to get through that. It begins to open itself to me. And as it opens, I feel these hints of emotion. But it's an emotion without story. There's no story or narrative to it. It's the strangest thing. Oftentimes we have a story for why it is we feel the way we feel. In fact, we spend a lot of our time in that space of explaining to ourselves why it is we feel what we feel. But when you can just come and just touch on the pure essence of that sensation and just allow it to be what it is without story, it's really phenomenal how beautiful that opening is. And sometimes it's sadness, sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's anxiety, sometimes it's just a breath, like, oh, thank you for pausing for just a moment. Like we've been holding our breath in part of our body for God knows how long. And we reach that spot, and when you can sit down and breathe with that thing, breathe right there into that obstruction, right there into that tension or that tightness. You're reinforcing to yourself that you are there for yourself. That it's safe to feel this thing. And many of us spend a lot of time feeling unsafe with emotions because we aren't sure once they start when they're going to stop. It's a flood of emotions that want to come out. But the other aspect of that is we know that we're going to create a story for it, and we just don't have the time or space to start dealing with all of that. We don't want to drudge up that feeling of the past. We don't want to revisit the anger or whatever it is that we've created a story to define what we're feeling for ourselves. So when we can meet that sensation with safety, when we're not going to go into a spiral from it, we can just breathe and feel the feeling. I tend to find that it's pleasant even when it's difficult, even when it's a difficult emotion, loss, sorrow, anger, resentment, abandonment, rejection, these things that are difficult to feel. When I come to that stuck place, it's almost like when the sun hits a flower and the dew starts to dry and the flower just opens to that sun. It opens to the light. And it's just, it's almost pleasant to get to feel the emotion that's been hidden or buried behind the story. Because we don't want to let go of stories. Stories always come with a hero and a villain and an injustice that needs to be corrected, and someone needs to be punished, and someone's got to pay, and it's certainly not me, and now I have the resentments, I've got to clean up after all this, and blah, blah, blah. So all that story gets in the way of us just breathing with our own experience of feeling. And then I have that experience and I release that tension and it's gone. And there's a beautiful moment with myself just to allow a quiver of my chin or a little bit of emotion just to process through my body, and then I breathe in and I breathe out, and I find I'm moving through. I'm moving through that thing. And then I breathe easier and breathe more gently. So, yeah, see if you can find that in your practice and what it feels like to you to just feel the sensation without the story. When I create the stream key for this practice each morning, it asks me to give it a name so that I can find the file afterwards. And the name that came to me today about this sit was from my morning experience, and it's don't just be with it, breathe with it. And I think that a lot of times the lessons or the teachings that I see that are kind of impersonal teachings, the ones that aren't necessarily coming from a teacher directly. They're things that I read. They're memes on social media. And it says, learn to be with your emotions. Just be with it. And this morning I was having a substantial amount of panic. I am stepping into some new roles in my daily life, which is already, pretty busy. And so I'm taking on a lot of responsibility and a lot of heartfelt responsibility, things that my heart are really connected to. So there's a lot of investment, emotional investment for myself there. And I woke up this morning with this sense of dread that I wasn't going to be able to put the pieces together today to do the thing that I have committed to doing. And I all of a sudden have a lot of people sort of depending on me for this thing today. And boy, it just snowballed. It was like that one snowflake, just fell just right and caused the avalanche of panic. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work out. And then this isn't going to work out. And then this isn't going to work out. And when that happens, I may as well just quit my job and pack up and never come out of my house again. And I say that jokingly, but it was honestly like thoughts that were starting to build steam, with the anxiety. It was like, are you capable? I don't think you're capable of dealing with this. I don't think you're competent enough to do the things that you want to do. Those thoughts started to come up. Those beliefs started to open up. And the feeling, of course, the whole time is just dread, terror. You're absolutely paralyzed in fear when you're having a panic attack. And so I couldn't get the story away from the feeling. The story was so close to the feeling. It was like it was the narrator of the feeling as I'm trying to feel what it is. And so I'm laying there and I realize, I can't just be with this feeling because there's something else here. There's something else in the way. It's not just me and the sensation. It's not just me and the feeling. It's all of these stories that I've carried for so long, for decades of my life, that I'm not competent, I'm not good enough, I'm going to disappoint people, I'm going to be rejected, people are going to be upset. All that fear, that's an old story. It's an old story. So now it's not just me being with the feeling. It's not just be with it. Now I have to tend to it. Now I have to do the work to receive and release, and I have to be able to move through this feeling because I got to clear out all of that story that's just louder and louder and louder by the moment. So there's no silence, there's no quiet in my mind, there's no stillness in my body. And those memes start coming up, those bumper sticker rhetoric of, oh, just feel your feelings, just be with it. And I thought, what a crock of shit. I don't know how to just be with it in this moment because I am in being with it. I'm not in it. I'm not experiencing it, and I'm not engaging. So I started to breathe. I started to breathe intentionally and directly into that place where I was feeling the feeling, and I had to break through the story. So I had to really refocus my breath over and over and over. We're talking an hour of intentionally trying to breathe through this story of anxiety and panic to get to the feeling of fear, so that when I get to the feeling of fear, I can go, hey, I know what fear is, and I know what danger is, and there's no danger here. So if there's no danger, you don't have to feel this fear. But I couldn't get there. And so as I breathed in and breathed out and breathed through it, I started to recognize that it's not just about knowing that I have these feelings, knowing that I have these thoughts, knowing that I have these beliefs. It's also about using the teaching of the breath, allowing the breath to be my guide here. And my breath teaches me how to receive and how to use what I need to use from that and how to release what I don't. It's a built-in practice of process. So I sat and I breathed and I engaged. And it shifted. And once it shifted, I was able to move through the next step of my day to make this thing happen and this thing happen. And I realized as I was doing that, all of that story that you don't have what it takes, you're doing it. You do have. You know what you need to do. You just couldn't get to it because things were in your way. You had to breathe through those things, get them out of the way, clear the dust. And then I did the things, and now I'm feeling. I'm feeling, and I'm being with the feeling, and I'm breathing with the feeling. And it seems like such a forced thing to say, but it's not. When you really feel the gratitude, I really feel gratitude for my panic this morning because it helped me understand and be reminded one more time, like, yeah, that's scary stuff, but you actually do have the capacity right now. If you're thinking it, you're feeling it, you can be with it, you can breathe with it. It's just that truth is there. You're already experiencing it. So breathe in and breathe out and don't walk away. It's right there. It's all right there. So I'm really grateful today for my panic attack and my triggering into these feelings so that the feelings could bring with all of those stories that I could just let go of, because I've been carrying some of those beliefs for a long time. A long time. And I know that each of us have those. Because a lot of us are carrying wounds from when we were children. And of course, when we are children, we don't have what it takes to handle the weight of the world. We don't know how to process and be with and breathe with loss and abandonment and rejection. But we carry that with us. And that's the story. That's the storyteller right there. That child who was harmed and didn't have the tools they needed. Now that child is telling the story to this adult, saying, you don't have what it takes. But I do. And I believe you do. And I believe in us. I believe in the collective, that in the moments that I don't have what I need in that moment, I can reach out and I can say, hey, I need some help here. Can somebody help me figure this thing out or this thing out, because my brain's not getting it right now. So gratitude today for panic. Such a strange bedfellow with our healing is our suffering. Let's take some breaths. Okay. Let's visit our poet this morning and see where... So here's what I'm going to do today. Yesterday, it was folly after folly. There was issues with the audio for the sit 2 times in a row yesterday. And so there is no shareable morning practice with anybody who wasn't in the room yesterday, which is a good encouragement. If you are in the Cave Junction area and you have been curious about coming in to be here in person, you are welcome to be here in person. And it's a lovely place, a little bit chilly. Sometimes it's dusty, but it's here and we can be here together. So I encourage you to give it a shot. The doors open at 8 o'clock and yeah. But so if you weren't here in person yesterday, then you missed the sit and you missed the offering from Bell Hook's Appalachian Elegy. So today I'm going to read yesterday's and then we'll open the new one for today. So yesterday we learned, and the talk yesterday we were talking about how to surrender into the feeling and to find peace with our conflict. Because there's a belief, I think, that peace is to be without conflict, and that's just not the case. Peace is what can come when we are with conflict and we are okay. And we are not reacting in a way that tries to get rid of something or push something down or repress or swallow something. Like, we don't have to do any of that. Being at peace with our conflict is being able to recognize our multitude, recognize how vast we are, you know. And this was the poem that followed that. And this is Bell Hook's Appalachian Elegy. And yesterday we were on number 43. When the dawn is still almost dark, I rise restless. Watch the morning come sly, slow movement into light from shadow play and unveiling. Inside this dark heart, a yearning to live as nature lives, surrendering all. Just a beautiful piece. Inside this dark heart, a yearning to live as nature lives, surrendering all. You know, we get stuck in this internal space of darkness, and we start to believe that not only can we not find the light, but that we don't necessarily deserve it. And then you have this conflict. And when we're at war, we need to learn to surrender and what that means. So thanks, Bell Hooks, for yesterday's. And let's do today's. We are on number 44. Fly high, dreaming bird, higher and higher on the wire of time. No roadblocks, no stopping to think through why wings flap, what makes the worthy soar, only this pure heaven right now, sky high. I mean, it's amazing. Like, we're talking about confronting those blockages in our own internal movement and our path, and then Bell Hooks is telling us there are no roadblocks. No stopping to think through why wings flap. I think this is the difference of just being with it and breathing with it. Like, even when we find stillness, we are not motionless. We are not without movement. Life is movement. We're moving through this life. We move through time, breath moves through our body, we move through space. So even when we sit on our cushions and we are without motion, here our body is still functioning, we're still breathing, there's still life moving all through us. So finding stillness isn't stopping everything, finding silence isn't making everything quiet. It's about finding our place, our belonging within it. Thanks for being here, and thank you, Bell Hooks, for that work. I'm not sure if we were going to be having a sit tomorrow. We will see. We have to look at our schedule, so if we have the time, I will be here with you all. If not, I will see you all on Monday. Thanks for being here today and tending to you and tending to each of us. So before we close off, if there's anything that anyone in the room would like to share or have questions, this time is open. Or anyone who is listening, you can use the chat feature wherever you are. I may be able to see it depending on where you're watching this from. Okay, well, thank you for being here this morning, and we'll see you soon, friend.